All right, moving on to solving systems by graphing. Over the next few lessons, we're going to be talking about systems of equations and different methods on how to solve those systems. This particular lesson is going to focusing on the graphing method of solving systems. So now when it comes to solving systems by graphing, right, you are going to graph both linear equations on the same graph grid. All right, so again, you're going to graph both equations on the same graph grid. And where the two lines intersect, that's going to be the solution for your system. So you notice here that both lines intersect at -3, 3. So that ordered pair is going to be the solution. Now, the reason why -3, 3 is the solution because it's an ordered pair that works for both equations. So if we did a quick check for both, and that means we're plugging 3 in for y and -3 in for x for both equations, we see that it does work, right? We end up with a statement for each of those, a statement that is true. Okay, so again, for the ordered pair to be a solution for the system, it must work for both equations of the system. All right, so now let's take a look at example number 3. Again, here's our system of equations. We want to solve them by graphing. So we're going to graph both equations on the same graph grid. All right, so once we're done graphing these two lines, you're going to notice that they do not intersect. Okay, we should have expected that because the slope of both these lines are exactly the same, right? Both written in the equation in the form y equals mx plus b. They both have the same slope of -2. So because they have the same slope, the lines that we're going to graph here are parallel, which means they're not going to intersect. And if the point of intersection when solving a systems of equations by graphing, that point of intersection is the solution. If they don't intersect, that means that this system has no solution. And because the lines do not intersect, this system has no solution. All right, moving on to example number 5. Again, we want to solve this system by graphing. So again, we want to rewrite these equations in slope-intercept form first so that we can more easily graph the lines. All right, so now that we've solved for x for both those equations, rewritten the equations in slope-intercept form, now we're ready to go ahead and graph these lines. All right, so after graphing both lines on the same graph grid, we see that there is a point of intersection. So there is a solution, and that point of intersection is at 7, -2, which would be the solution for our system. All right, that's it for today's lesson. Go ahead and move on to the homework for day 2.